We usually commend volunteers for helping others and serving their communities. But in China recently, a couple lost their assets after volunteering for their community during the pandemic. NTD's Becky Zhou has the details.
A Chinese couple tells NTD when the pandemic first started, they volunteered to supply food and drinks to local residents. But local authorities stopped them in January. Authorities say this is due to virus prevention measures. Now the husband has been forced to quarantine for more than 70 days. The northern Chinese city they live in was under lockdown for almost 50 days earlier this year.
When residents had no food or drinks, a few of us supplied them with lots of food.
But everything changed after 2 of their teammates contracted the CCP virus. Zhao says local officials forced her and her husband to quarantine at a hospital. Zhao was released recently, but her husband still has to self-isolate in a shelter away from home because he developed a fever 2 months ago.
All my test results were negative, but I have been forced to quarantine for more than 70 days. They told me that I can't get out even if my wife suffers a heart attack or another family member dies or gets married.
Chen says he still has to quarantine with no end in sight after the fever disappeared. This even has a negative impact on his father-in-law. His in-law loves to play mahjong, but all the other players are now keeping a distance from his in-law to prevent infection. But what hurts the couple the most is that local officials trashed their late daughter's personal belongings.
My daughter died of leukemia 3 years ago when she was 2 years old. The local officials threw away all her photos and clothes. They were priceless.
Zhao says local officials also took away their bank cards, wallets, cell phones, and business certificates after seizing their home key. The couple also couldn't run their business as usual. But still, local officials refused to offer any help. When Chen called them, one of the local officials got angry and redirected such calls to local volunteers.
The local officials love to have more money and power. They don't care if ordinary people die.
Chen says the regime even demanded that he sign a self-isolation agreement. Once signed, he has to isolate at home for another month and be monitored for another 3 to 6 months. Instead of signing the contract, they say they will get tested again to prove that they are not infected and therefore do not need to quarantine. Reporting by Becky Zhou, NTD News.